This is John from Forage London. It's the 31st of March and I'm making another film. Last time I made one of these it was mid-February, early February. It was really quite cold, but there was still quite a lot to see in London. Today I am in the garden of my local climbing centre in North London. Let's see if we can turn that round and have a look. Can you see this huge construction? They were wonderful, the Victorians. They couldn't just build a water pumping station, they had to build one that looked like a 200-foot high Gothic castle. Anyway, so the weather's a bit warmer and I'm experimenting with a couple of things for this little talk. First of all is having a cup of tea with me, which makes life handy, and the second thing is shooting this landscape instead of portrait how I did last time, which meant that it got cropped off really badly on YouTube. Anyway, enough about that. Let's have a look at some plants. The first thing that I think we should take a look at here is this three-cornered leek. This is an invasive plant, but a really lovely invasive. It grows all over the place, likes growing in community gardens, likes growing in the front of blocks of flats, loves growing in churchyards and places like that. So it's called three-cornered leek because it's got a three-cornered flowering stem, and then on the top it's got these beautiful six-petaled garlic flowers. It's actually three petals and three sepals if you want to be picky about the botany, but the way they actually look is like they've got six petals. And this is a plant that's got edible flowers and edible seeds and edible bulbs and edible leaf stems and edible flower stems. So it's a really good plant. You can use this the way you would do ransoms, wild garlic. You can cook with it, you can make omelettes with it, soups with it, all sorts of things. I chop it up quite fine because it's quite a fibrous plant, so if you're munching it you can do that thing that kids do with spaghetti where they get it caught down their throat. You have to pull it back out again. It's a bit of a choker unless you have it chopped up. I've been making kimchi with it, so wild garlic or three-cornered leek kimchi. By lacto-fermenting it, which basically means starving it of oxygen and keeping it submersed in some mineral water, and adding fish sauce and chili and garlic and ginger and things like that, and it preserves it, makes it into a lovely crunchy vegetable that you can eat throughout the year, really, because it keeps absolutely ages. What else have we got going on here? Let's have a look at this. Down here we have got this stuff, garlic mustard, otherwise known as Jack by the hedge. So this is a member of the cabbage family doing an impression of garlic, because it's not actually an allium at all. It's not a garlic plant, but it's got these really nice little leaves. For me it's not really a salad plant. Let's have a go. At this time of year, yeah, they're quite nice and garlicky, but they've got quite a bitterness on the back. But I tend to dry fry this and make little furry, little sprinkles out of it, a little bit like the Japanese seaweed sprinkles, furikake, which have got seaweed and sesame in them. Very good for soups, omelettes, stews, just dried and then crumbled as a dry herb, really. I'm actually in what would be loosely termed a forest garden. So Ida, who runs the garden here, has planted these Eleagnus bushes, and they've got little berries on them which are edible. It's quite easy to identify. The leaves have got a very, very shiny pale underside, and then they're spotty and shiny and much darker green on the top. And it's a sort of forest gardener's ideal plant, this, because it's nitrogen fixing, so it helps lots of the other plants to grow. It also makes a good windbreak, and it's also got edible crops on it. Anyway, so what else can we find out here to have a little look at? I'm going to walk around. It's so much nicer to be outdoors on a day like today. Let's just take another look at the climbing centre, because it is pretty magnificent. Let's get me out of the shot. Isn't that a astonishing looking building? I only come here maybe 4 or 5 times a week. and I'm in London. Absolutely addicted to climbing. Over here we've got some young stinging nettles starting to come through. Quite young at the moment. Let's nip the top off those. I pick stinging nettles using what I tend to call the asparagus method. So I reach down onto the stem and I pick them at the point that they naturally snap off, the point that they want to yield, and that's generally the point that is going to give you the nicest, tenderest and softest growth. And then I will use these, well, nettles at this kind of age, I'm going to be using them for all manner of things, but mostly I'm just going to be sweating them, cooking them like a spinach, using as a pot herb. At the moment I've got some of them at home sitting in a big pot being steeped in botanist gin, because each year I make a drink called a beech noyu by steeping beech leaves into gin, and this year I decided that I was going to try a nettle version. Numerous uses for nettles. I could probably just stand here and talk for nettles for about half an hour, but basically it's a wonderful plant. Should be our national dish. Loads of silica, loads of iron, loads of protein, loads of calcium, loads of other minerals in there. A really wonderful plant that tastes great and can be used in numerous different ways. So looking down here, it's quite interesting. Well, interesting from a kind of I'm a plant nerd sort of standpoint. Here is some nice, tasty looking, edible cow parsley. And then over here, let's see if we can lie these down together. So here's some cow parsley. Better off, see if I can just hold it up to the camera. There's some cow parsley. And here, I'm going to pick him off as well. Looking very similar is some poisonous hemlock. Now, I'm not going to go into the specifics of ID, but basically the way that I teach to identify these two plants is to get to know the smell of cow parsley, which absolutely definitely doesn't smell like hemlock. Hemlock has I can smell it from here. It's got a bit of a kind of a fetid sort of bottom of a mouse cage smell to me, but smells are very different for different people. So you need to smell things yourself. Let's see if I can come around here. So yes, let's have a look at these. So this is hemlock. It's got some little red spots on the stem, which you probably can't see very well here, and it's got a totally rounded, hairless stem with a little groove down it. And this is cow parsley, and this, hope you can see, has got a big groove. In fact, if you cut this stem into cross section, it would look like celery. It would look C-shaped or U-shaped, and it's got little hairs all over it. And rather than it smelling like the bottom of a mouse cage, it smells to me like the lemon hand spray they give you in a restaurant in Turkey before you have a meal. So it's got a slightly citrus smell to it. Some people say it's got a little bit of a pear smell. My mum thinks it smells like washing powder. I've had people tell me it smells like creosote. I've also had people tell me it smells of hippies. So you have to really go out, identify it with somebody who knows what they're doing, and then hardwire that smell yourself so you can be sure that you've got the right plant. But once you can do that and you can safely identify hemlock, then you're on much safer ground with picking cow parsley. Cow parsley is a great plant. I tend to use it in the winter months a lot in smoothies. I blend a lot of it, and then when it starts to produce a nice flower stem, as does this one over here. So you can see here, this is starting to produce quite a chunky flower stem. When this gets a bit bigger, what I'll do is I'll cut it and I'll strip the outsides off. The outside's a bit twiny, and in the middle is a sort of juicy vegetable, which I'll just probably eat raw. On the top you've got these white flowers, umbellifer flowers, sort of little white umbrellas, and that's characteristic to all the members of the carrot family, which includes not only edible things like hogweed and wild carrot, wild parsnip and things like that, but also hemlock water, dropwort, deadly poisonous. Hemlock, extremely poisonous. False parsley, extremely poisonous. So if you want to wander into a world of the wild carrot family, you really need to do a lot of research. You need to know your stuff, and you need to learn these plants with somebody who has taught you about them in the field, because there's a lot of things you just can't include in a book. Maybe I should do a scratch and sniff foraging guide. That might be a good idea. Although I seem to remember not from foraging guides, from scratch and sniff books, that everything either smelled of petrol or lemonade. Maybe they've come on a little bit. You heard it here first. The Forage London scratch and sniff foraging guide, and I don't know what it would be called. So let's have a look at something else. See what else is growing in the garden. I mean, it's a lovely, look at it, lots and lots of vegetable plots here. The growing communities here supply lots of food locally, and most of the food that is sold in the cafe, well, a lot of the food that's sold in the cafe here is actually grown in this garden. It's a really fantastic project here, really. There was nothing going on in this garden about 5 years ago, and now it's a happening thing. It really is. Let's have a look, see what else we can find. Here's well, it's in a flower bed, but I'm gonna look at it anyway. Down here, this is winter purslane, also known as miner's lettuce. They ate copious amounts of this stuff during the American gold rush to stop them getting scurvy due to lack of vitamin C, and it's a really good winter and into early spring kind of salad plant. It's nice and crunchy. We probably won't be able to go into the specifics of how to identify it here. It's a bit bright, and it's a bit of a simple looking leaf as well. Over here we've got a member of the mint family, looking a bit like a nettle. Easy to distinguish from a nettle, because as with all members of the mint family, I'm just stripping the stems there, not making an attempt to eat it. As with all members of the mint family, it's got a square stem, which you can easily see if you roll it between your fingers, and it has opposite and opposing leaves, so they come in pairs, one pair going one way, next pair going the other. And strong smells. Generally there's a lot of sort of groups of smells within the mint family. There's the mints, which is quite obvious. There's all the things that we cook with, basil and thyme and sage and oregano and all those domestic herbs. And this is in fact more of a medicinal herb than a culinary one. It's hellishly bitter. It's called black horehound. It's a nice furry plant, and another name for it is stinking Roger. You find this growing in the lanes in Dorset where stinking iris grows. I quite like the fact that stinking Roger and stinking iris might be a stinking couple. Anyway, more used for making cough mixture, as far as I know, than I mean, you could eat it. It would be ridiculously bitter, and it would certainly get your digestive juices going. It would kickstart your liver function and your system to say start breaking down fat immediately, but it would be extremely bitter. Let's have a look and see what else we can find. I can only apologise for the appalling and shonky camera work. I think I did a better job of it last time, but then last time I was filming portrait with the camera upright, and there was a bit more room for my head. Along here we have got some, well, we've got a road which is quite noisy, but we've got some beautiful looking young hawthorn leaves, which will still be nice and nutty and peanutty. We've got some elder coming through, so we've got buses galore, but we've got, I wonder if you can see, the first elder flowers nestling in there. There we go. I think we can just about get those in focus for a second. So that's starting to come through. That's obviously one of my favourite things to use. I think I do a lot more with the elder berries than I do with the elder flowers. Although last year I made elderflower cordial and elderflower lemonade and elderflower Turkish delight and elderflower everything really, but then I tend to use the berries a lot more. I think they're a really wonderful underutilised resource that we've got. They've got absolutely tons of vitamin C and antioxidants. They're an antiviral. They're really good for suppressing cold symptoms, and they taste great. They taste really terrific. I make elderberry and clove cordial that I tend to drink nips of throughout the winter, and I also make elderberry vinegar, which is a little bit of kind of sweet balsamic glaze, and elderberry wine and elderberry pretty much everything. It's just a wonderful berry to use really. Down here we have got some feral strawberries going on. I'm never particularly fussy about whether things are wild or whether they've escaped from somebody's garden. Here, right next to these vegetable plots, they've absolutely most definitely escaped from somebody's plot. But I gave up my veg patch here. I only had a little plot, sort of 2.5 meters by about 1 meter, but I gave up on it because I was more interested in the things that were growing around it than the things that were growing in it. Nice big patch of 3-cornered leek just coming through here. You can see that. Lovely tasty flowers. When those flowers drop off, they'll leave little seed heads that have got 3 sections to them and are kind of little delicious round balls that are wonderful to caper, so you can make wild garlic capers. Let's see what else we can find in this garden at the moment. Some mallow. So this looks to me down here, this is common mallow. It's not in the best condition, but probably because of where it is on the edge of the path, but it's got quite a distinctive leaf shape and really wonderful vegetable. Probably need to pick about 1 kilo of these leaves if you want to make a spicy Middle Eastern soup called a molokhaya. I'm sure my pronunciation is utterly wrong, but that's quite tasty. I've made that in the past, and otherwise just sweat it like a normal vegetable really. Just sweat it like a green veg. Slightly slimy, a little bit of that okra thing going on because there's lots of mucilage in it. There's the stuff that gives okra its slime, and the reason that you'd find mallow as an ingredient in a cough mixture, it's going to be a bit cough suppressant because the mucilage will coat the mucous membrane and as a result suppress the cough reflex. Okay, well, what else have we got going through here? How long have I been? Bloody hell, 18 minutes again. I was supposed to just do this in like sort of 3 or 4 minutes. Instead I've gone for another massive ramble. Anyway, apologies to anybody who got this far. Down here we have got, to start with, looks like dandelion, but it's not dandelion, it's a relative. It's called sow thistle, and I don't tend to eat dandelions because I find them a little bit bitter, but I do eat this plant because its leaves are a lot less bitter, and I just snap one off. One of the ways of identifying it, probably can't see on here, no we won't be able to, is it exudes a kind of white latex from the stem when it's snapped. It has different shaped leaves, although it looks very similar, and you can see these flowers are similar to dandelion, but unlike a dandelion which has got 1 flower per stem, this has got multiple flowers coming out of the same stem. And over here it's a really nice tasty little plant called shepherd's purse. And that has got little heart-shaped seed heads on it. And if you can see that, let's take it to that kind of distance. So, as with all members of the cabbage family, which this is a member of, its seed heads stick out the sides of the flowering stem and they run up it, and you can see them. Thomas Elpel, who wrote Botany in a Day, describes them as being like a staircase for little people that run all the way up the stem. And then on the top of the flower, top of the stem, you've got flowers that have got 4 petals, almost always yellow or white. Hard to see in this case. Anyway, it's a nice cressy little plant. It's got peppery little leaves and seeds, but the thing it's got going for it most is the fact that its seed heads look like beautiful little hearts. So a really wonderful decorative little member of the cabbage family. 20 minutes, well, I could go on, and I really do tend to go on, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say I do apologise for this protracted and elongated waffle, and I hope some of it was useful. I've no idea how rambling it is or was. I'm gonna view it back and see if I can bring myself to publishing it. Anyway, so this is John Renston from Forage London in the garden of the Castle Climbing Centre, saying thanks for watching, happy spring, happy foraging.